You're very welcome back to the show. Now, my next guest is a body confidence coach, author and body image expert. Growing up, she struggled with her weight, overcame an eating disorder and became the first plus-size fitness presenter on UK national TV. She joins me now to help women overcome their body hang-ups once and for all. Astrid Longhurst, you're very welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I have been so excited. You should have seen me.
Yeah.
And just a word about the background. It does look like I've got arms coming out of my head. I haven't, but I can't move the background. So
I didn't notice that. What exotic place you're in, but you're actually in Kerry, though not originally from Kerry.
Yes, lovely Kerry, and been here for about 20 years now, and love it. Love Ireland, and still trying to get the Irish accent. Is it working?
No, I think if you don't have it by now, chances are you're not going to catch it at this stage, because the Kerry accent is a particularly strong one, and if you're going to pick it up, you'd have it by now.
Yes, I need more work.
Not at all. Now, how did you first get into doing what you were doing? Did you always... Was it something that was always in the back of your mind, like not being happy in yourself as a child or as a young teen?
Oh gosh, Elaine, I was miserable. I mean, my whole life really up until this point has been such a learning journey. And at 5 years old, my father died, and it left us without a father, and our world changed. And at that time, I learned how to eat for comfort. I think, my family would always buy me little sort of treats and things. And I remember my mother saying once, well, you lost your father, we're trying to make up for that. We'll give you, sweets and things. But it started a way of feeling, how do I cope? How do I feel better? I learned that food was a way for me to feel better. Oh yes, and there was these pictures that you're showing, fantastic, because I always loved to move. And I remember at 6 years old, I went to do a ballet exam, my first ballet exam, and I passed. And I went in, my mother had made me a dance dress because there was none that would fit me. And I remember standing in the garden, and my mum said, oh, smile at the camera, smile at the camera. I was 6 years old, and I already felt, I'm too big, I'm too fat. And yet I loved to dance, and that was the only time that I really felt free. So my body journey, my body story started way back, with loss and with grief, and then with finding ways that I could feel better about myself and escape into a different world, shut my feelings down. I suppose, sorry, Elaine.
No, so dance did that for you, but how did you kind of marry the expected image of a dancer with what you were physically like at the time?
Oh, it was so hard, because obviously I wasn't the image of a dancer. And at that time, we didn't have so many wonderful shapes and sizes that are dancing now and we can see. And so I remember desperately trying to lose weight. And I remember, very interesting, I went to a careers interview. And this was when I was about 16. I was still dancing, wanted to get into a dance college and study dance and eventually teach dance. And the careers officer, she took one look at me and she said, now, what do you want to do, Astrid? And I said, sort of very bright, I said, oh, I love dancing and I want to be a dancer. And she took a moment and she looked me up and down. And then she said, don't dancers have to be thin? And I remember I felt my bottom lip going, when you're about to cry. And I pulled myself together and I said, yes, they do, and I will be. And she said, well, and she actually said under her breath, she said, more like a wrestler, really, than a dancer. And I heard it. It would be unthinkable now to say those kind of things. But I remember leaving her office with a handful of leaflets about going to secretarial courses and, shop work and things like that. And that's absolutely great if that's what you want to do. But my dreams of being a dancer was not, recognized at all. So there began a really big journey on me trying to lose weight, and then going into a really severe eating disorder.
Yeah, you meant, just to delve into that a little bit further, you did say, dancers have to be thin, yes, and I will be. That was the start of a very slippery slope for you.
Yes, very. And I'd gone to my first audition and I'd already lost a lot of weight. So I thought, oh, I shall be fine. Went into the first audition, I failed it. And one of the reasons was I was still too big. And so I left that audition, and I said, I'm going to get the weight off. And I did. I lost another 2 stone. And so I got into, yeah, that's a lovely picture of me sort of really, I was probably about 19 at the time there, in that picture that you're showing. And I got in and I loved it and I was dancing all day, but I was struggling keeping my weight down. And after I left college, I decided there was this moment, I think, at a health fund, that I'd gone to sweat off another 10 pounds, and the thing was, Elaine, I had got my goal. I was as thin as I could be. And I remember looking in this mirror at a health farm, and my hip bones were jutting out and my collarbones were standing out. And I remember looking at myself in this mirror, and it should have been the day that, the sort of heavens opened and there were angels singing and, sort of hallelujah, you've done it, you've done it. And all I could feel as I looked at my body still was disappointment. I just looked at my hips and I just thought, you've got to lose more weight. But that was a big turning point, because I thought, something in me said, how much more weight do I have to lose before I'm going to like me? Because I was as thin as I could go. I was miserable. I was unhappy. And although I'd physically lost a lot of weight, my head was still as critical and as judgmental as it had always been. And that started a change, because I thought, how do I do what I love in life and be who I am in life, and not have to think that my dreams are only dependent on my size, which is what I'd always thought. I thought, if I'm a size 10, I can go and dance, I can go and do the things I want to do. And it's very ironic, because I actually went and did the things I wanted to do at a size 22.
Yeah.
And that was extraordinary to me, and I think such a turning point there again, because I remember when I was doing GMTV, and I was standing there and we were going live, and I had a few friends in the background. I was absolutely terrified. And one of the biggest things was, I felt this sense of, oh my goodness, I'm doing this. I'm actually dancing and moving in front of people who I would never have done that before. I would have always held back in my life, worrying about, will they laugh at me? Will they pick fun at me? Will I be accepted? Will I be okay? And I remember that first day I was shaking like crazy, and the music came on, and it was the Weather Girls, and they're fantastic, and It's Raining Men, and it was full of energy and power. And I just went for it. And you know what? That showed me so much. That taught me such a big lesson. When you love who you are, and when you take steps to embody your dreams and not take no for an answer, and not buy into you've got to be thinner, 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 thinner. And I couldn't get thinner. I couldn't hold it there at the time. I was miserable. I was unhappy. I didn't know how to. Now I know I have a great relationship with food.
Yeah.
But that day when we went live, I said, I am so proud of me.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of me.
What you're saying resonates. I know resonates with me. I can remember the time I was at my thinnest, and I had pretty much starved myself, having shakes only for 6 weeks. And I remember ringing my sister and going, I'm at my goal. Why am I still not happy? I mean, this should be my dancing around, thrilled with myself moment. And it didn't happen. And I think for a lot of women particularly, our relationship with our bodies, our relationship with what we weigh, we sometimes use it as a barrier to achieving what we want to achieve. How do you spin that around? How do we get our heads out of the obsession with what is on the scales and back into what we are inside rather than externally?
Yeah, I love what you've just said, and it's so interesting that you've also had that experience, probably like so many other women. It's a great question. And the thing is, our bodies are not up for being judged. That's not their purpose in life. Our bodies are not about how we look, what size, what shape, what age we are, and anything else about that. Our bodies are about one thing only, and that is the experience of living our best life. Our bodies are about how we feel in our lives. It's the appreciation we have of our bodies. I mean, I've looked at this time that we're going through with all of the COVID virus, and what are we trying to save? Our glorious bodies, so that we can live another day in this amazing life of ours. And nobody is saying, oh, your hips are too big, you're too fat, you're too thin, you're too old. They're just saying, let's save these beautiful bodies of ours so that we can actually live another day, and we can go on and we can create something good in this world. Because when we're obsessing about our bodies, that is so much energy that is being wasted on what we look like, instead of going, what do I feel like? How do I change my energy? How do I look in the mirror and smile at me instead of criticize me? I mean, I often think, and when I'm doing my workshops, I teach up and coming body confidence coaches, and I do my I Am Fabulous workshops. And we move and we dance and we have energy. And I invite everybody in the audience to say things that they would never say about themselves. And that thing is, I am fabulous. And after the first kind of feeling of, oh, but I'm not fabulous, only because we've been told that we're not fabulous again and again and again, we start to rock it and we start to move, and you can see everybody's energy change. And at the end of it, people walk out of that workshop and they're laughing and they're smiling and they're saying, oh my God, I feel so different about my body. We have to look at our bodies with different eyes, not the eyes of judgment and criticism like I did for years and holding back. We have to look at our body with eyes of gratitude. I'm so grateful I got up this morning. I'm so grateful to hug the people that I love, even though that's difficult right now. I'm so grateful for another day on this earth. Isn't that what matters? And then, the other thing is, Elaine, I'm so passionate about is, the young people growing up today. I'm invited sometimes to go into schools and share my story.
Yeah.
And I love doing that, because one of the things I always want to tell them is, look, you're beautiful. You're beautiful and you're enough right now. And focus on what is so lovely about you. Focus on how much more you are than a shape, a size, or an ability, or whatever else that might be. Because when we don't like our bodies, we don't like ourselves. And when we don't like ourselves very much, we start to neglect ourselves. And when we do that, we start to hold back in life. And so I often think, there are so many talents and, books to be written and all these young people to express their passions and their talents. And so often they don't, because they're too worried about how they look.
Yeah. If you could,
we have to change that.
Yeah. If you could give anyone watching today, be they young or old, I know we blame social media for a lot of what's going on now, but before social media, I was influenced by magazines. There's always been something. If you could give one tip now to anybody watching and how to start their journey into self-acceptance, what would it be?
Okay, lovely question, thank you. One of the biggest things is we have to change our narrative, we have to change the story, we have to challenge our negative thoughts. And a beautiful tip to do yourself, I use this in my coaching practice and also in my trainings, but one beautiful thing is, whenever you have a self-limiting belief, and usually they come from the past, is to challenge it gently. Don't try and push it away, because it'll just get louder. So you challenge the belief by one question, and you place your hand over your heart and you close your eyes and say the belief is, I'm not good enough. Place your hand over your heart and answer from your heart and ask yourself, is that really true? Is it true from your heart that you are not good enough? And see what happens. The heart always will say, no, it's not true. I am good enough. I may believe that I'm not, but I am. At my core, I know I'm good enough. And then to start living by that rule, rather than the rule that says, you're not okay if you're this age, you're this size, you're this shape. We have to change our narrative. We have to change our story and our body story. Yeah. And so challenge, challenge, challenge every time you have a negative belief. It's like we wouldn't invite people into our home who are rude to us. Well, let's not do it with ourselves. Let's say, hold on a minute now.
Astrid.
And I'm just going to challenge.
Yeah, Astrid, yes. I have to say, I wish I met you 30 years ago when I gave up tap dancing because I thought I was too wobbly. God knows what might have happened, because I know a lot of people, their story will resonate with yours. Unfortunately, we're going after going way over time. We'll have to get you back on again to chat to us some more. It's been lovely talking to you, and thank you so much for sharing your story and your wisdom with us today.
Thank you so much. I've loved every moment. Take care.